السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. This is our program Spirit of Values and this is Dr. Tariq Rashid. We'll continue in today's episode with what we started last episode with the values during crisis. And in the first episode we mentioned the relation between problem, risk, crisis, when is it classified as pandemic, and we discussed the concept of characteristics. Let's go deeply with the concept of crisis. What are the values, how to manage, and we start with what we call how can we classify the crisis. And here again, let's start with taking COVID-19 as an example to try to customize issues with this. But you can apply all of these to whatever crisis we have. We have lots of factors to classify the crisis. First is the stages. Is it in the early stage? Is it spreading or it is disappearing? And just in COVID-19, starting on March 2020 in most parts of the world, it's the early stages. Then during May, June, July, it was spreading, and the first move disappearing maybe in the starting of 2021. Then another factor is the frequency. Is it frequent or just for once? What do you think about pandemic of COVID-19? It's frequent. It's part of what we call biological crisis. There is another factor of the depth. Is it deep or shallow? At the beginning, it was very deep. The impact is very high. Intensity is another factor to classify crisis. Is it threatening the structures and values? Is there time to control? Are there solutions? At the beginning, we don't have any control. At the beginning, we don't have any solutions. However, now the situation is better. Another criteria for classification, physical or emotional as a subject. Is it physical or emotional? It's both. The duration, is it short, medium, or long? Usually, if the crisis is less than 6 months, it's short. From 6 to 2 years is medium. Longer than this is called a long. And now COVID-19 is starting medium to long somehow. The level of the crisis, is it local, regional, or international? And COVID-19 is an international. Its structure, is it simple or complicated? It's very complicated. And even the causes, the solutions, every now and then there are changes. Now also another factor, the causes. Is it natural or human interference? And always a human interference is there. And they're always there. Even not meant to be there, but it is always there. Bad attitude, bad actions, lack of awareness will help in such. Is it affecting some types of professions or all professions? It's affecting all in professions. HR, engineering, medical, industrial, IT. What is the activity level? Is it sudden, critical, hidden, or clear? Now it's clear. Level of control, low or medium or high. Now it is some country, depends on the country. Some country have a high control, others medium, others are low in controlling such crisis. Now, what are the causes of crisis? We have lots of causes actually. One is lack of understanding. Once we don't have full awareness and understanding, we have a promotion for a crisis. Underestimating or overestimating. Sometimes being too much optimistic is critical, or even being too much pessimistic. So we have to balance issues. Rumors are always causes of crisis. Depression, hopelessness, some people, another cause of crisis. What are the effects and impacts once crises occur? First, the impact is gradual in intensity. Then it increases. Then for sure it will decrease. Affect business continuity and goal achievement. Because of this, one of the most important values during crisis, continuity. Business continuity is a must. And just to remind you, bad decision in crisis is better than no decision. And we have to move. then we can redirect issues, but we have to move. Power changes, even in crisis, will affect power changes. Media is very, very active during crisis. So these are the effects and impacts of crisis. What is the life cycle? It's a 4 stages. It starts with early warnings. And this is what happens in COVID-19. The early warnings come from China in December 2019. It's early warning. Then it starts with what we call starting stage. The starting stage, usually we have misleading information. We don't know. Are we in the correct direction? What's happening? Information is affected. The third stage in the life cycle is the long-term stage. Shocks, unbelieving, hesitant, worry, business continuity is affected. Lots of analysis here and there. And finally, we will reach what we call recovery stage. And hoping this pandemic we recover all countries from such a pandemic. Recovery stage where control is back. After this life cycle, what we recommend is to lessons learned. We get for meetings, for organizations, for countries, even for the whole nations. We go and what are the lessons that we learned from such a crisis? And we record this in the documents in order always to get back and have the past experience will help in similar future crises that may occur. How to manage the crisis? We have different models of managing crisis. The first model is what we call think model. It's a descriptive model for managing the crisis. It's a 3-stage model. The first step in this model, define the crisis. Define it. And well definition is highly needed. Then isolate this crisis from other issues in order to try to focus. Then managing. So think suggested 3 levels in the management model. Define, isolate, and manage. However, this model is very descriptive. What we recommend to apply is what we call the management model suggested by Business Week by 5 major steps. This is a very practical model to manage any crisis. And please remember the 5 steps, very important to manage crisis. First, define and decide on the indication affected. We try to see, for example, lots of patients, this is an indicator, and no control, another indicator. So we have to decide on the indicators. Then we announce we have a crisis. So step number 1 is looking for the indicators. Are they affected negatively? Then this is starting the crisis. Then we have to plan to deal with the challenges. In such a case, we have usually to have 3 scenarios, minimum 3 scenarios. In any crisis, minimum we have to have 3 scenarios. Of course, this should be set in the early stages of strategic planning. Then we form a team to manage on the ground. This team should include 4 main people, 4 main roles in the team to manage the crisis on ground. The 4 are a person with a leadership style. The second, an excellent person in management, very professional in management. So excellent leader, professional manager. Third, a very high technical expert in the subject of the crisis. So if the crisis is affecting IT, we go and bring the best IT in our department. If it is financial, bring the best expert. The fourth is someone who can deal with media, because always media is very, very active during crisis. So we form the team. The team then take one of the best scenarios and implement the most effective scenario on ground. Then we evaluate, review, and get lessons learned. This is actually the best model we apply in crisis management. It's recommended for countries, organizations, or even for small business, or even at home. We can manage the crisis by this. Let's move towards what we call risk management and how is risk related to the crisis. Now here we discuss what we call what is your attitude towards risk. And here is actually affecting the type of people. Some people are risk addict, which means they love risk. They cannot live without risk. They feel that life is boring without risk. They always go for the risk. And they believe that you live once, take risk. But some people are what we call risk seekers. Risk seekers are very proactive towards risk. They look for the risk, evaluate, and then take it. There is people who are wait and see. Most people wait and see. Then they can't take it. What do you mean by risk? This is our wait and see attitude. Some people are risk tolerant. They don't believe in going with risk. I trust my personal good fortune. It's okay to keep like this. No way to take risk. And there is the negative side, risk averse or avert. Sometimes they will never accept any risk, even in small issues. And the highest level is what we call risk paranoid, which means that they prefer to stay where they are. So please evaluate yourself. Which mentality applies most to you? Usually we recommend that to be a risk seeker and risk taker, because life by itself, lots of risks in life. If you keep just closed and you keep safe, no safety. Always tawakkal ala Allah. And always risk seekers, they achieve a lot for organizations and for countries. So are always risk negative? No. And usually in risk, they said, if we can transfer the threat into opportunity, this is what most organizations do. How can I deal with such type of risk and change it into an opportunity to get benefits from? So risk is an event or condition that may occur and whose occurrence, if it does take place, has harmful and negative effects on the achievement of the results. Risks are closely related to results and should consequently be analyzed. And remember, if you don't manage risk, crisis will happen. So usually we have to understand such concept between risk and crisis. Risk management is the identification, the assessment, the prioritization of risk, followed by coordinated economical application of resources to minimize, to control, to monitor the type of risk. Can we change the probability or the impact? And usually in risk, we discuss two concepts. We discuss probability of the risk and its impact. Now, what do you think? Can we reduce the probability or we can reduce more the impact? Can I reduce the probability of having an earthquake? Can I reduce the probability of an earthquake? No way. But can I reduce the impact of an earthquake? Of course. And it's usually easier to control the impact and lower the impact rather than trying to change the probability. We cannot change the probability. So there is our earthquakes. But how can we manage is the risk management concept that is very important to understand. And usually risk management will go through 5 steps. First is what we call risk ID, risk identification. We start, what are the types of risks that may face our organization? That's what we call risk identification. Then we go for the assessment, risk assessment. What do you mean by assessment? We try to check the probability as well as the impact, and we assess probability. Usually we go for several types of assessment we will discuss later. Then we go for plan the risk response. What is the best strategy to control this risk? How to plan for it? This is step number 3. Then in step number 5, we go for what we call the risk management planning area completely. Then we monitor and control, and we put all of this in what we call risk register. Risk register. So these are 5 steps, and usually such steps are cyclic, which means we start linear, identification, assessment. Sometimes in the assessment we get back to the identification. So it's usually a linear, starting linear, but cyclic approach. Risk identification is one of the most important steps. And how can we identify the risk? Let me introduce here the tool of PESTEL. The PESTEL tool is the tool we use to classify types of risks. First, we have what we call political type of risk. Wars, troubles in certain countries will affect any organization. So this is a political type of risk. Also, we have economical type of risk. For example, increase in the currency between euro and dollar, increase in the oil prices, decrease in gold prices. All of this is economical type of risk. But also we have social type of risk related to beliefs, habits of a certain culture, of a certain society. Then the most important type of risk now affecting all the world is technological type of risk associated with lots of digitalizing, but we have now a problem with cybersecurity of our information. Then we have what we call legal type of risk related to the laws and the environmental issues that affecting every happening in any organization. Finally, we study all risk coming from the environment, earthquakes, radiation, lots of floods, snow, etc. This will help me and will help organizations to understand risk identification. It's the process of determining which risks may affect the project as well as our initiatives. And here the team members, the risk management team will always gather and try to check the PESTEL tool in deciding the types of risks. Then we'll go for the risk register. To complete this risk register, all risks will be recorded in the risk register, and we try to check for the root cause. Why do we have such type of risk? How can we manage this type of risk and get free of this? Always remember to check the impact and probability. And always we try to reduce the impact. It's very difficult, as I mentioned, to reduce the probability of risk. Then we go for several risk response plan. Now, in the assessment, what we do in the assessment, we go for what we call risk importance. We multiply the probability by impact. Multiplying probability by impact, we will get what we call risk importance. If the probability is very high and the impact is very high, we have a very high risk factor and risk importance. And this needs the process of making priorities, which is the highest type of risk that we may face. And usually, it's the probability and the impact. An example, for example, if I mentioned 8 Richter earthquake, what about the impact? Oh, it's very, very dangerous level, very severe. What if it's happening in Japan? Is Japan, the probability of earthquakes, higher than other countries? Yes. So compare if I have 8 Richter earthquake in Japan or in Mecca in Saudi Arabia. Is it the same? No way. Because the probability differs, although the impact is the same. And we have always to control and study probability with impact. From such, we'll get what we call risk importance factor, which decide based on this what to do and how to do. So here is the risk assessment matrix. Usually what we do is we go for 3 by 3, which we have 9 squares, as you can see. First, the probability, low, medium, high, and the impact, low, medium, high. And here we have 9 squares. The most dangerous is the red one, where we have high or medium impact with probability, and the yellow, where we have some sort of control with the medium, and the gray one is very safe. So we have to understand this and manage the risk. So in this episode, what we discussed is how can we manage crisis, what are the models, and we mentioned the think model and the business week model. Then we go for the risk management and risk assessment, which means we have to go through the 5 steps. And this was mentioned in this episode. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.